Hello, and welcome back to episode 34 of the worst reselling podcast ever. Hello, Granny, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Octo. Episode 34, did you say, or 33?
Yeah, 34. Well, 33 last week.
34.
Yeah.
Wow, that's unreal.
Yeah, no, I'm actually surprised. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like you and I again this time. Like,
It is.
we were chatting a little bit before we started recording, and we've given Blake the bin because he didn't agree with me on drop shipping last episode. So we'll see how he goes. What was that? Sorry, you dropped out.
Penalty box.
He is. That's right. So that's
Yes.
what happens. If you upset me, I rule with autocratic tentacles. So you get thrown out for a week. So well, hopefully he'll be back next week. We'll just see how he's feeling because he's not feeling the best at the moment. He's probably laying in bed, moaning and dying as we speak. So, which is good, which is befitting because, like I said, he did disagree with me in drop shipping. So
don't be mean. Poor Blake. He's got calamari 19. He's feeling very ill.
That's right. That's exactly right. And there's no correlation between me and him. I didn't give it to him, so you can throw your tentacles down before you get your little your pitchforks out and chase me around. So
yes, Blake has to attribute that because he's sleeping with a nurse.
Yes, that floozy. You can't take Blake anywhere. Anyway, speaking of floozies, I see that you replaced me on Friday night. Your live stream. I wasn't too impressed by that.
I did.
You dirty stop out.
My favourite male stripper came along and helped me because I was feeling a bit tired. So right. He offered to come and help me entertain the troops.
Well, I was quite disappointed because, like I said, I thought I was your one and only octopus, but obviously, given half a chance, you replace me with anyone. So.
Well, yeah, there seems to be a little bit of tension between the two of you. I'm just not quite sure. Yeah, there's obviously something's happened in the past that I don't know about.
Right. Well, I pick on it. I pick on everyone. I pick up on everyone. So yeah. So like I said, there's a certain special people. But anyway, the person we normally pick on the most. Hello, Graham. How you going? I hope you're well. So we'll say hello to our Aussie nurse flipper.
Yes, hello, Graham.
Number one fan. Soda City Flips. I can't even speak today. Jeez. Morning, Shane. Shane was a bit upset on Friday night, and he was a bit upset on his Reseller Locker Room podcast as well. So I'm not too sure what was going on there. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
don't know.
Sure, but no, must be a bit cool over there, and he hasn't warmed his head up yet. So maybe we'll have to get him and feed him and send him over.
Oh, I know.
But I suppose now that it's you and I, we can have some fun without Blake, being the killjoy that he normally is. How's your week been, Granny? I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, up until today, I've had a ripper of a week. eBay sales and Depop sales have been going off. And so, going really well. Today, dead as a doornail. But then that could be attributed to the one neutral feedback that I just happened to get last night.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that because this will lead into our topic of the week.
Yes, well, so I got a neutral feedback from a customer who bought a 100% polyester tunic off me. Now, look, anyone that knows it's a sheer polyester fabric, which really is wrinkle resistant, but, look, it possibly could have gotten a bit crumpled. So the feedback said, it was neutral, and it said, crumpled, and I object to being called granny.
Why are you calling people granny?
Well, I didn't. That's the trouble. I didn't. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it because what I believe, the only thing I can attribute to is because I put a thank you card in with all my purchases, and it has a picture of Grumpy Granny at the top, which is a black and white sort of graphic, like a pencil sketch version of me, and it says thank you for becoming a Grumpy Granny customer. And then it goes on to say, your purchase made my day. I hope this parcel makes yours. And there's just a couple more lines in the bottom, and then I hand sign it. But I sign it Leanne. I don't sign it Granny. I don't know.
I can fully understand where that customer's coming from because, how dare you be pleasant to them? We've spoken about this before, Leanne. I'm not happy with you being pleasant to the customers. So.
Well, yes, apparently. This time it didn't go down well at all.
So
I got a neutral.
That's right. So, to be brutally honest, I'd be quite surprised if eBay removes that, to tell you the truth. Because, what we've spoken about before, and I haven't got around to making my how to remove negative feedback video yet, so I do apologize in advance for that. But when it becomes the customer's opinion, I think there's another word they normally throw around, a customer experience. So they're basically using it like language that you can't get removed. And I think this one's going to be quite stubborn to get removed because, what they'll do is they'll basically say, hey, look, they've basically reflected on the product being, crumpled or crinkled or whatever it is. Because, heaven forbid that they get an iron out and rectify that.
Well, this sort of garment, you can hang it up for 24 hours and it'll be back to good. But, I can deal with the fact that she said it was crumpled. That sort of, look, it's going to happen. But if you buy something online and it comes in a parcel, you can't expect it to come out and it's going to be like it's freshly ironed, really, honestly. Yeah. And the other thing is, look, this item was sold for $12 plus post, but $12. So it was very heavily discounted. I put it in a padded mailer. I didn't even stick it in a vinyl satchel. Put it in a padded mailer. And, so nothing I did helped, really.
And this is what I preach about all the time because, heaven forbid, should I get on my soapbox again and tell everyone what I think. But I think...
Are you ever off it?
Oh, that's what I say. I'm only about 2 foot tall when I'm not on my soapbox and moderately good looking. But the thing is, that what it is that, and I'm sure a lot of people, by all means, please put it in the comment section below if you feel one way or another about this. But I find the cheaper the item is, the more problems that will cause. And this is the perfect tie-in because my beloved Skylander here, now that Blake's not here, I can say the S word, my beloved Skylander. So that one there, that's about, I think I got it listed for about $599, right? So when he eventually does sell, and he should sell, he's not going to he won't go out this week, but I can do, he'll probably go out sometime in the next couple of months. I probably won't hear from that buyer again. He'll pay his $599 and just waddle off into the horizon. But the ones that I found that previously, like selling $9.99 DVDs or our beloved Nightmare Flippers with their $4.99 free shipping DVDs, that's kind of inviting trouble. And I've seen it personally myself, is that they're the ones you need to worry about. Like you constantly, and they kind of have a higher expectation of what they're receiving.
That's what I said. Like, I mean, I don't know whether she expected it to arrive wrapped in tissue paper and with a pretty bow around it or something. But like when you buy something for $12, that's not going to happen. The fact that it was in a padded mailer is an upgrade for something of that level. Most people would just put that sort of thing in a vinyl satchel.
I think we've spoken about this before. What do you default to? Do you use the padded mailers or do you use the vinyl satchels?
Well, I don't have vinyl satchels anymore. I only use the padded mailers because I just found for the quantity that I was using and then the extra bit of time it took to go swap from one particular product to another, it was just easier and in the long term, I feel cheaper to just go with the padded mailers across the board because I'm so much quicker at packing those. Because I can just keep packing them.
Well, that's right. And, we're comparing the size of the post office, my beloved Joe, if you're watching, hello. So we're comparing the size, and the size difference between the small padded mailer and the medium padded mailer is quite negligible. And she was showing me how to actually rot the system. She was get your box cutter knife out and, run it on the inside seam, then just sticky tape it up. So then you're in essence turning a small padded mailer into a medium for the same price. Which, quite surprising that Australia Post worker was happy to tell me that. But, she's dodgy as they come. So, which is always a good thing. And that's probably why that I keep going back there. But, but like I was saying is that, and I agree with you, is that you might pay marginally a little bit more for padded mailers versus vinyl satchels and all those different things. But what you save in time will probably be better in the long run, especially if once you progress through the business and all these different things. And I've said before, you want to kind of sell things that kind of, especially for the Australian viewers, you want to sell things that fit in small, medium, extra large boxes. You don't want to have to think about Frankenstein boxing like they talk about in the States and all these different things because you're just killing half a day. So
and look, for most of my customers, that me going to the padded mailer versus the vinyl satchel is to their benefit because a lot of the jeans, and you know this yourself, jeans, some of the smaller size jeans, women's jeans will fit in the small vinyl satchel, but essentially, size 14 up in women's and all men's have got to go in a medium in the satchel, in the vinyl satchel. So you're looking at, $14.50 for post. Whereas if I put them in, they fit very well in the small, in the padded mailer. So they're only having to pay $9.99 from me to ship them jeans, whereas most other people are charging $14.50. So it's to their advantage as far as that goes.
Yeah, and that's right. Like with the exception of the one that I'm sending out tomorrow, because the lady bought 2 pairs of jeans. They'll go on a medium satchel, but she's also paid 2 lots of postage, which I'll pocket myself. Don't refund postage. I can't tell people enough. Like, if by all means, if Leanne reaches out to me first and says, "Hey, look, I'd like to buy these 2 pairs of jeans. Could you do something about postage?" Yes, I'll be able to fit them in a medium. I'll charge you $15 or $14.50, whatever it works out to be. But if you buy, separate transactions and you don't reach out, fair game as far as I'm concerned. And and a lot of people talk about customers. I know I keep going on about the Facebook groups, but Jesus, do they trigger me? Like, especially lately. Like, I don't know if you had to see me.
They're bad lately for some reason. And look, the other thing I will say about the padded mailer before we do go on to that is that for me too, if I sell, so I have got one that's going out tomorrow, and I've been getting more sales where someone's buying more than one thing. And if they do that, I can fit 2 garments, 2 shirts, say, in a small. But if I was using the satchel, the vinyl satchel, I wouldn't be able to.
No, that's exactly right. Just going back to quickly, so we can close this topic off and get to the real meat, the episode that won't end, because I suppose we can end it today because Blake won't cut me off. I can talk about it. But especially the Facebook groups. And like I said before, I don't have any problems with them. I'm more than happy to help with people. But the fact of the matter is, what I keep seeing popping up is that, if you refund, a customer's, excess postage, or you do this for the customer and you do all this for the customer, they'll be beyond ecstatic and they'll come back. That's not the case all the time, right? Like, out of 100, because like I said, because Blake's not here, I can say Skylanders. I might have a lot of Skylander people that come back on a repeated business, and I treat them as repeat customers. Like I said, I normally give, I suppose, I won't say deformed Skylanders, maybe not perfect Skylanders, in their parcels as just extras as a thank you, and because otherwise I'm going to throw them out, right? They're perfectly fine, for a kid to play on their system. So that's a benefit of actually coming back and reusing me from that perspective. But if you're selling one-off items, like a lot of people that do without having really niche down into specific products, giving them a $4.50 or $5 discount on their postage, it's not doing yourself any favors, because they're not going to come back. Like, and the people that are educating on these things probably run full warehouses where they just primarily deal with, I'm not going to target anyone in particular, but DVDs. I'll use Brad and Jazz's 2 Aussie thrifters as the thing. So they might just sell, DVDs, where, their customers might come back to them because they might have a series or a set of, books or something, or DVDs that they want. But if I just found that Skylander on the street, then I found a pair of jeans and all these different things. I can't expect that person that bought that Skylander to come back next week and buy a pair of jeans, because I'm like kind of an everything seller. But because that's why I kind of think that you don't really want to pass the savings on, or you don't want to pass the reduced postage on, unless you have a prior arrangement. Like, by all means, if they reach out and say, "Hey, can we do something about the postage?" Yes, that's fine. That's no problem with that. But it becomes more complicated, especially if you're a one-off seller. So, and especially in the infancy of your business, because that extra $5, they're not going to come back. Let's face it. Even from a Skylander perspective, from 100 customers, I might have maybe 15 of those, if I'm lucky, are repeat customers, right? So, you do see them, and repeat customers might be over a period of 90 days. So, I'm not going to try and by the time they come back after 3 months, they might have forgotten that I gave them a $5 discount. It's just, I've got their specific one that they're after, and they're going to come to me because I have that. That's the transaction, right? But that $5 discount that you're giving them back, or you're giving them kind of a mate's rates, that could be used to, buy more packaging material, or that could be, another product at the thrift store, or all these different things you could be repumping it into your business, and, furthering yourself from that perspective, instead of making imaginary friends.
I don't refund it unless they ask me. And look, I have had a few come afterwards, after they've paid and realised it's charged them 2 lots of postage. And that's fine. I'll give them a refund, partial refund. But generally speaking, when that happens, I mean, I will take into account if I have to go up to the next size mailer, and add that in and say, I can refund you this much, because that's what would have charged. But yeah, and look, I had one on Depop during the week where the person has, and Depop set up so that automatically it will charge if someone buys multiple items at the same time, it will charge them the one shipping rate, but it'll be whatever that lowest shipping rate is.
Yeah.
But this person must have bought the 2 items, but at separate times. On the same day, but not too far apart, but far enough apart that Depop didn't recognise it as, the same one. So, they paid 2 lots of postage, but, I put them both in the same mailer and sent them off.
Yeah. And like I said, if the person reaches out before you've posted the item, I suppose, like before the transaction complete from my perspective, by all means, and I've never had an issue with someone coming back and saying, hey, look, you've overcharged me for postage, or, can I have my money back when it arrives a week later or whenever it comes back. Yeah, they just, like,
at the time, I reckon, if that's, the couple I've had have asked me straight after paying and said, that it didn't calculate the shipping right. Is there something you can do? And I will. Look, it might have happened twice in the last 2 years, I reckon. Yeah,
like I said, it doesn't happen often enough. Like I said, if you are trying to build customers, because like I said, that you really niche down, and there's only 6 people that want your product, and they will become a permanent customer. That's a different scenario, right? You really want to cater to those people, especially if you've got a very finite customer pool that will keep coming back, and you want to differentiate yourself from all the different things. But if you are an everything seller, you just go to the thrift store once a week and just pick up whatever tickles your fancy and put it online. You're living in a fool's dream if you think they're going to come back and buy something else. So
yeah, agreed.
I suppose we begin onto the topic that we spoke about. We're into part 3 of the it's always like lamb chop sing along. The song that never ends. It's like the episode never ends. But I personally blame Blake for that.
Surprising, some of the topics we have done over the past 34 episodes. Like you might think that they could have gone forever and ever and ever. This probably wasn't one that I thought would go on and on and on, but it has.
No. Well, that's exactly right. Because, like I said, Blake gets too passionate about his drop shipping. Yeah. So, with him not here this week, we can actually, finalize and wrap it up and tie it in a bow and move along. So, which always is a good thing. But without further ado, Granny, I think we better do a bit of a recap because I didn't listen to the episode before we went live today, so I'm purely running on rusty brain cells. So I do appreciate that. So what we're talking about is we're basically looking at, and this is a case in point of what Granny was saying about the neutral feedback this morning, is that if eBay, let's face it, let's be brutally honest, eBay doesn't care about you. If you fall off or you stop selling on eBay or you get suspended, someone will be there to replace you on eBay as far as eBay is concerned, right? And that's primarily from a customer's focus as well. Like, if you have a customer that keeps coming back to you and buying a certain product that you sell, you stop selling, they're not going to lose sleep over that you not being there anymore. They'll just find another supplier or another person on eBay to satisfy that requirement.
Yeah, because most customers see, even though they know there's different store names, they still see us all as eBay, the entity. So they will just go and find someone else on eBay to get it from. It's not an issue for them.
That's exactly right. And I'm glad you brought that up, is because, we'll create a little more segue, end of this series on episode 19. But the thing and the fact of the matter is, when you look at eBay's advertising, right, it's like I bought it on eBay, or I got it, even Weird Al Yankovic, his eBay song, I got it off eBay. But I didn't get it from Grogy's Patch, or I didn't get it from the Disgruntled Octopus, or I didn't get it from Toolsy Thrift, or Uncle Wayno, or Maddie, the Aussie Flipper, and all those different things. The people don't talk. Where did you get that thing? I got it off eBay. Like they don't single yourself down, but. And I think, I don't know if we talked about Shopify last week. We're talking about Shopify this week.
Kind of a little bit. But, I mean, that being said, we do it to a certain extent ourselves, because when people ask us what we do, we say we sell on eBay. We don't turn around and say we have an e-commerce business or we sell online. We say we sell on eBay, don't we?
Well, that's right. It's almost like it's indoctrinated. Like it's almost like common slang that that you do all these different things. Like even Amazon to a degree, and we'll talk a little bit Amazon. I don't know much about Amazon, so I'm not going to go delving into things I don't know about it. But I want to bring people's attention that potentially Amazon's a platform you can utilize. But you're right. Like we're not basically doing ourselves any favor saying, hey, look, my store is. I have a store on eBay, right? It might even be a case of just changing your language around how you actually talk to people, all those different things. Yeah. Even even if you're in a thrift store, I sell on eBay. A lot of people that I speak to is that, thrift stores that, they have either one way of looking at it, eBay's bad, resellers are bad, blah, 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 or, this person could potentially help me or clear stock and all these different things. But if you go to a thrift store and someone asks you what you do, I have an online store that I sell these products, or I have, I curate these products and sell them online, or something along the lines of that. You kind of make yourself sound a lot more important than what you're actually doing. But going back to what I was saying is that eBay doesn't care, or your customer base doesn't care if you shut down, right? They're not going to miss me, or they're not going to miss Granny, they're not going to miss Blake. Like, we don't miss Blake, but they're definitely not going to miss Blake. But the fact of the matter is that you need to look from that perspective. And I suppose I'll slither a little bit into Shopify now, is that if you create your own website, you create your own entity, you have a presence online. That presence is going to be non-existent. Let's not beat around the bush. You are going to have to punch in a considerable advertising budget into your Shopify store. Like, Shopify charges you, let's just say 2%. I don't think it's 2%. I think it's around that figure, but we'll just say 2% for you when you sell a product, just for their Shopify fee, plus processing fee. So that in itself is what potentially 15% cheaper what you're paying on Depop and eBay after you promote listings and all these different things. So it might even be worth punching up to potentially 7 or 8% through Google Ads to try and get traffic brought into you. And what I think we talked about in the first episode in this series. But Jesus, I'm going to have to call them something else. But what we spoke about in the first time,
Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3.
I was about to say, that's exactly right. We're starting to sound like the Guardians of the Galaxy. But what we talked about a little bit was building an online presence, building a social media presence, building some sort of presence. You don't need to get your face behind a camera, if you know all these different things. And I do want to talk about a real case study in a second, which I hopefully they don't listen, because I'm not going to be too favourable on their plight. But the fact of the matter is that Grumpy Granny and myself having some sort of online presence, like two Aussie thrifters back from burnout, Blake, Maddie the Aussie flipper, and all these different things. If we wanted to create a website, we could direct people to that website through Facebook, through YouTube, through Instagram. Like Grumpy Granny and I, with our measly 1,000 subs and 999 of those we paid for. We're not going to have a big consumer base, right? So we're not going to have like thousands and thousands of people like Commonwealth Picker, flooding his website. But we still have like a little bit of an advantage on people that don't have that advertising. And you don't, like I said, you don't need to be like if you've got a dog, by all means, just follow your dog around with a camera and just sell it from that perspective.
People love cute cats and dogs.
Well, that's exactly right. Like a lot of the groups that I follow, because my horrible hound is, a cavalier, right? So the amount of Instagram, pages that I follow with cavaliers and all these different things, I've never seen what the owner looks like. I just see what these, special looking dogs look like. And to say they're special looking is an understatement. these things are nightmare fuel. But like I said, that these pages have got hundreds of thousands of likes and views and followers and all these different things, and not once have I seen the owners. Hopefully they're the ones chasing the dogs around with a camera. Can't be too sure. But that's something you can do. And imagine if this person, I suppose, well, they monetize the product. They start creating, like a brand of dog leashes or a brand of all those different things. Then they can start, pushing that onto their following or to their viewership and all those different things that you can possibly do from there. So, like I said, that definitely engage in social media in some capacity. I know I've brought that up in the previous episode. I'm bringing up it again because it is quite important, right? Especially. And I think we spoke about the first episode, and the basis of this product, or the basis of this, this episode trilogy. It's not Star Wars. We're going to go into 9 movies, but it's kind of to get to the point is that like nothing infuriates me more, and I want to get your piece on this in a second, Grady, is when people say, I love eBay. I'm going to, I'll sell on eBay for the rest of my life. Like I think. The likelihood of that happening, even for someone that wants to do full time, is quite minimal. Like, what do you think about regards to that?
Look, if you had asked me 12 months ago, I would have said, I love eBay, and I'm going to just sell on eBay for the rest of my life. But, look, things change and your perspective changes as you go. And, I have had that realization that you can't put all your eggs in one basket, because if that basket breaks, you're buggered. And if you need that income coming in, you need to have some alternative streams of income. Or some alternative ways of actually selling your products in the future. And, that was a big call for me, because, it was just at the time that Poshmark decided to leave. I was actually looking at selling on Poshmark.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. It was probably me that broke the system. I admit it. My fault. So then I moved into going with Depop, which is actually working quite well for me. As an alternative source of income. Well, and it's extra to what I'm doing on eBay, which is fantastic.
Yeah. And I kind of think, like a lot of people in the States, right, like they always preach, don't cross list. But I suppose
how lucky are they, though?
Yeah, that's right. Well, the amount of platforms they got over there, like, you could throw a stick and hit a platform over there. That's how many there are. I think there's more bloody platforms and service stations over there.
I think it would be hard. I do think it would be hard, though, if you had more than one platform that you cross-listed to, if you weren't using a software that actually deleted the listings off them as they sold, because that would just become a hella nightmare, I think.
Well, I think that,
yeah.
Because there are, because I do my fair share of watching ADH Dave and all the other ones that peddle their cross-listing software, and I have noticed one that does remove listings after it sells. It must just delete them all off, or or they might be doing different things. And by all means, if you're listening cross list magic, please do that on Depop, because I've double sold things.
I believe they do. Vendu does it, but see, we've only got cross list magic that'll work here in Australia now. Interestingly enough, after watching, was it Flippin' Uneasy brought up about the Tree Cat, which is a new one that's come out. And they had a promotion.
None of which of these promote us, by the way. So by all means, reach out to us and advertise
But
we'll take some American Bubble Boy as well while you're there. Hello.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe this one might work in Australia. I don't know. So I went and checked it, but it did say that it doesn't work internationally. However, I reached out to them and I sent them an email and said, look, I can see you're not doing internationally, but if it gets to a point where you are thinking of coming international, we would love to have you in Australia. And I have 3 ready-made testers for you with a high social media profile that we'll be happy to review the product and, push it for you. And I got a very nice reply. I got a very nice reply from the gentleman that owns the business, and asked me specifically what it was why I had thought it would be great for them to come here. And I explained to him, well, we only have the one and it's very basic in what it does, and we would like to have something that had a bit more functionality in it. So, yeah.
And that's exactly right. And we did, I suppose, take the piss out of Paul Laurie's My Post Buddy business thing in week 1. But the fact of the matter is, and by all means, I don't know how much it costs to create a cross-listing platform program like this, right? But, cross-list magic is very bare bones basic of what it does. It just grabs the data and drags it across the Depop and plops it in there. It's fine from what we do from our perspective, but, if someone had the I suppose, the financial backing and, a little bit of, nuance, they could probably create a platform which would blow this one out of the water. And they charge, what is it, $17 a month? I think that, like the cross-list magic.
It would be. I think it's like $9 or something. I think I'm paying a month.
Yeah. So I can't remember how much.
10. I think it's nearly 10. I think it's something like that. Anyway.
But like I said, that because I suppose the marketing from a cross-list, and I wouldn't have known it existed without Blake. To tell you the truth, Blake brought it up a couple of times, but that they do no marketing over here from what I can see. They got. Potentially, if you were a reseller in the reseller market, or you're known within the reseller market, said, hey, look, what do you want from, or what do you expect from a cross-listing program, all these different things. So you're doing a bit of research in the market, you bring that in, then you just basically get, go on Fiverr and create a program that, drops it across for you, because all the back end stuff, which is the API, which I don't understand what that kind of works. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I know what it is, but I can't really explain it. But it's basically the guts that eBay and all these different platforms gives you, so you can interact between two. Yeah, normally, like what happens is it interacts between Shopify and all this different. It's kind of like an add-on, I suppose, like from my understanding. But yeah, if you get all this API stuff from the different platforms, from like Amazon, Catch the Day, eBay, Depop, and all the other ones that we do have access to, and do like have some sort of system that does cross list across to those, and heaven forbid deletes it when you sell on one of the platforms. You could like, I would go there for $9.99. Why would I pay for $9.99 for a product that just it's bare bones, to say the least?
Because
where we
and it is bare bones. However, for what we do, like we have to look at it as the time that it saves us in actually having to manually go over and do that. Like I wouldn't have half the stuff I've listed on Depop as I have if I didn't have Cross List Magic. I have to say.
Well, that's right, and I agree with you 100% there. But I agree with that statement, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's bare bones, right? So realistically,
100% it is. It's worth it.
So
it's worth it to us at the moment for the
Well, it's worth it because
but
that's right.
We would dearly love something that did a bit more.
Well, that's right. It's worth it because it's the only product available that works for what we need it for. But like I was saying, is that, and no different to what we're talking about with Paul Laurie's My Post Buddy Business, whatever the hell it's called. That paying basically creating something very similar that does that little bit extra, then monetizing it for $4.99 a month. Then you off you go, and you can make funds that way. You can. That's the closest you're going to come to passive income, right? So you need to do the work at the start, then you do all the different things. So cross listing to a degree is passive income because like Brady was saying, is that you list one thing, but it goes to two different sets of eyes because eBay. And I was reading something the other day, and someone mentioned it online as well. Is that eBay is an aging audience. So that basically they're not doing enough to capture the younger audience, like the 20-year-olds, the 25-year-olds, and all these different things, which are gravitating to Depop, because they're focusing on high-end luxury items like watches and car parts and all these different things. Like the 20-year-olds, they can't afford rent. So why are we catering towards those different things? And I know that the markets are different, but you've got that gap in the market from that perspective. And by all means, I'm not saying go out and create your own listing platform. Basically, you can create your own eBay, fighter, and all those different things. That's not going to work. But that's something you need to be mindful of, is that go where your audience goes. If you're buying, especially if you're a clothing seller, or plush to a degree. I've sold a few plush items on Depop. So potentially that if you are listing, if it's $10 a month, I'd probably say try and list 100 things, cross-list 100 things a month, I think, just to bring it down to that 10-cent mark per listing, because you don't want to be cross-listing 3 things, then it becomes $3, and then potentially by the time that it sells, it could be like up to $16 or $17 in cross-listing fees because of that product, right? But if if you primarily source clothing, which has that Depop vibe from what Blake was telling me, because apparently he's a young kid, it needs to be grungy.
Well, there's a lot younger than both of us. I can say
that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, an 88-year-old octopus. I like to think I'm maintaining.
And a 99-year-old granny. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. Which is pissing off the customers. But hey, but like I said, you need to work out what your demographic is. Like I said, if you are just selling, I suppose Depop clothing, because I can't really, I'm not cool and hip to work out what it is. Y2K, I always hear that getting thrown around, right? So if it is Y2 clothing,
it honestly is. It boggled my mind to start with when I first started doing it. I sort of had I looked around a lot to have a look at what was already selling on there, and took the items that I had that I thought would fit the vibe, and sold them on there. And look, it was all stuff that actually had been listed on eBay for a long time but hadn't sold. Put it up on Depop and it's selling because it's that audience that wants that particular type of garment. They're there.
And I think it's also got to do with the fact is that I don't think there's a lot of people on Depop selling. That's just my general vibe, is that because eBay is kind of flooded, with the cross list magic, it's dragging it across. But I definitely do think the boosting on Depop helps. Is it 8% extra? I think it is. So it's about. So you need to take into consideration you're probably losing about 20% on fees, which should be no different to what you're selling on eBay as well, especially if you're in the clothing category, because you need to you need to present up to promote up to a zoo just to get a look in.
Yeah, and for me it works out. Like I've worked out my figures and everything to work it out. So it's roughly the same. Probably sometimes on eBay I'm paying about 2% more. And depending on, but you also, with the boost, you don't always pay the boost, just like you don't always pay the ad fee on eBay. It's only if that sale happens to happen because it does sort of churn and burn sometimes. Because you have a bit of a freak out when it first happens. You go in and you search your item and there's two of them and you think, did I double list that? But you did. One's the boosted one. So they're doubling the amount of exposure you've got and putting it up in certain spots so that it'll get seen. And that's why there seem to be two of them. So if you sell something when that's happening, then you'll get charged the boosted fee. But if when it's on a regular cycle, then you don't get charged the boosted fee.
Yeah.
So you don't always get charged that.
And I don't think there's many people, or not, especially not that listen to us, that when promoted listings first came out, that's what promoted listings were. There was two listings. So you'd have a promoted listing of yours, and then you'd have a normal listing. So if they clicked on the promoted listing, that's when you get attributed your promoted listing fee. But if they clicked on the normal listing, which is maybe just 4 or 5 listings down the track, which is like Grady was saying, is the identical product, you wouldn't get it. So basically what they've done is they've removed the second one and just made everything promoted on eBay now. But I find that Depop is a lot better for those obscure items, I suppose, because I find clothes sell a little bit cheaper on Depop, but you don't get lowball offers because they're I think they can only maximally 40% off or something along the lines of that they can send an offer for. So you're not going to have like a $200 dress or a $200 pair of pants or something like that, and people sending you like $9.99 offers.
That's true. That is true. I will say, so with the offer system, there is one big disadvantage in a sense, but it also has a big advantage. So if someone sends you an offer for something and you accept the offer, that item is still not deemed as sold and is still active on the platform until the person pays for it. So as soon as it's paid for, then it's considered sold. So if someone sends you an offer, say of $20 on a hat, that item is still sitting up there. So if it takes the person 6 hours to get back to you and they go to pay for it, well, in that 6 hours, someone else might have bought it for full price. And that's all good. But it has that advantage that your item is not dead in the water for that interim period. And the disadvantage is that you do get sent offers quite often, more often than you do on eBay, where they just don't pay. But it doesn't matter. That's right. Because your item's still available for sale.
Well, that's right. Yeah. So I have noticed that. Like when I first started selling on Depop, and I think we mentioned it in an earlier episode. So we've been selling on there for probably 6 months now. I'd be close to that, or not
probably,
that long. Yeah,
probably it's getting close to that.
We'll just say 6 months. And so we've been selling on for 6 months now. And my first 10 sales or 15 sales, whatever many I've sold, went through without a hitch. Didn't send me an offer, didn't do all, just paid full price, paid straight away, no problems. But then I had a spate of probably about 10 orders in a row where they just didn't pay. They just disappeared. They'd send you an offer, you would accept the offer, and they've got a 24-hour period from when you accept the offer, when they send the offer, it expires, so that it will release from all those different things. But like what Leanne was saying is that, and no way do I think that Depop as a site, like as a website, is like the top of the cream of the crop. Like basically the way it presents itself, it's something that like I could probably do. I'm not saying it's like a fantastic Depop website, but the fact of the matter is that a shitty website like Depop can sort out the offer system, but eBay can't. With like this is what just infuriates me is that, but like what Leanne was saying is your items don't lock up after. They don't lock up as soon as they're sold. They're basically free range, and and it's more for them if they don't pay straight away, or they don't all these different things because.
And I have had a few things that I've sold. Probably, I'm going to say since I started, I've probably had maybe 4 things that have sold in that instance where I've had an offer for it, I've accepted the offer. They haven't paid, but in the interim, someone's just come in and bought it for full price. So I don't care.
And I personally find the people on Depop are a lot more amicable.
Yes.
Because a couple of times that I've said before is that cross-list magic. If you're listing, fix it. That I've sold things on eBay and I've forgotten all about it on Depop, or because I had when we were doing the end sell similar thing, I deleted 100 listings, and I'm pretty sure that's common knowledge, right? But I can't remember if I cross-listed them to Depop because there's no direct correlation. And I would love, if you're out there, you're thinking about creating a cross-listing app, by all means, just grab the trail on it. If I sell something on eBay, I should be able to click a button which takes me straight to the Depop listing, right? Like, because all that data will be still there because it's the cross-listing platform magic that drags it across. Anyway.
Well, because some of the better cross-listing apps applications that I'm aware of, they actually store the data inside their own
server.
Platform. Their cross-listing platform. So if anything goes wrong, you still have the data there, so you can then put it back. If it happens to accidentally get deleted or whatever, or there's other sorts of things that they do, but there's quite a lot of functionality in a lot of them.
Well, personally, I'd like something on I'll just use cross-list magic because that's the one we've got access to. Is that if I sell something on eBay, it has a little button on the because what happens if you list something on eBay using cross-list magic, it comes up with little kind of 3 little green cards which you can click on, and they'll initiate a cross-list, right? So basically, grabs all your photo, grabs the data, pumps it into the Depop. You just change a couple of things around your listing. It's really simple. It takes about 20 seconds once you get the hang of it. But when you sell something, it should come up with maybe 3 red cards or something like this on the product page. So you can click that, takes you straight to the Depop listing where you can actually mark it as sold, or you can delete the listing off Depop because when you sell on eBay, you can sort by like to say Levi jeans. I'll just go type in Levi, scroll down to my Levi listings, and delete the applicable one. When you're on Depop, you have to scroll through, and if you've got 300 clothing listings, you're there for a while. There's no internal search engine, which makes it a lot easier to do.
Well, I mean, the only way around it is so you can type in your store name. So my store name's Groggy Bear, so I can type in Groggy Bear Levi's, and it will bring up my Levi's thing. So I get around it a little bit. So do you want to know my little trick? So I do that. I search for the item, I find it. I then I click on it and go into edit, because you can't actually delete it from there, do anything with it from there either, or mark it as sold. So I click edit, I go in and I go down to the description and I put a full stop somewhere or a dot or something somewhere, and I save it. Well, once you make a revision to any of your Depop listings, it puts them up the top, right up the top at the front. So then when you go back into your whole profile of stuff, it's sitting right at the top.
So like I said, that reaffirms my point of Depop being a shit website because it's really clunky. It's looks like it escaped from the 1990s. It's like a caveman of a website, but it's still
I look at it as if we weren't selling on eBay, though, we wouldn't think it's perhaps as bad as what it is.
Well, that's exactly right.
We would think, and it's easy. Regardless of what you think, it is quick and easy to list on there. Even though it has a lot of functionality issues for us as sellers, it makes things difficult, especially if you're listing a lot, as you say. But I think the trouble is because we are so used to eBay and all the intricacies of that and all the different, things that you have to do and everything there. And then you look at that and you think, that's a dinosaur.
Well, that's right. And I think it's because we, primarily, especially in the reselling space, is that every second YouTuber is like, hey, look, I'm an eBay seller, or I'm doing this, and they'll show you how to use eBay. There's no Y2K kids that are running around saying, hey, I'm a Depop seller and this is how you use Depop. There probably is. I've never had to Google it, but it's quite I'm going to close this off because we've got 16 minutes to wrap this episode up, and we've got 9 hours worth of stuff to get through. But Depop is good. So as a secondary platform, by all means use cross-list magic. We're not sponsored by them, but by all means reach out and give us money. We'll be happy with that. So if you are primarily a clothing seller and you have Y2 clothes or band T-shirts or that retro vintagey kind of stuff, like which I have no idea what I'm talking about, but because even though I've been selling clothes for the best part of a year now, I still have no idea what boot cut is. Definitely look at using cross-list magic to transfer those listings across, and just be mindful that when you do sell something, you need to take it off Depop, because unlike eBay, they won't refund you the seller's fee. So if you sell something on Depop, you could reach out to Leah and say, hey, sorry, the shirt's been sold or it's been done this. And like I said, they're very amicable. They won't leave you negative feedback. They'll be like, oh, no worries, thanks for letting me know. They're quite pleasant.
And you don't get a ding from Depop
That's
themselves.
Right. There's no
either.
ding. So by all means, and don't cancel on eBay. You'll find out later this week why, because that episode's coming out. I've bought myself a green screen. Leanne's seen how snazzy it looks. So
yes, very.
That's what I've been waiting on to finalize the episode. But you, like I said, don't cancel on eBay. But Depop won't refund you the admin fees if you, because you basically paid at point of sale through PayPal. So you just have to, and the refund system is a bit clunky on Depop. But if you want to know more, go into YouTube and type I'm a Depop seller, and hopefully someone comes up and helps you out. That's all
I do show the basics of how to do the cross listing, but that's the only thing I've done the video on so far.
Well, there you go. You send me a link to that, and I'll put it in the description. And I promise I won't forget for the 50th time. Next thing I want to talk about a little bit about is Shopify, which we've spoken about before. So Shopify is where you actually create your own website, which is if you're a clothing seller, probably steer away from doing Shopify. Shopify to me would be is that if you've got replenishables, like you've got a wholesale or a distributor that's able to give you multi-quantity items, that you've got something that's replenishable, you've got something that's in demand, but more of a niche thing. So if you can import something, like for example, importing Skylanders from America or something along this. So if you did that, you were able to sell them on eBay, on your own Shopify platform, potentially create an Instagram account saying, hey, Octo Skylands or something, Octo Skylanders, you use that as a marketing platform, what we spoke about before, like with your reselling. You just maybe put a Skylander up a day, like Robo, for example, do a little bit of blurb around him and say, hey, look, if you're interested in buying Robo, here's my Shopify website, and you redirect them from that. So that's potentially what you can do with Shopify. And Shopify is really the limit of what you can do. So, you can have customer relations, you can have customer, like feedback and all these different things. You can have set times that you want things to launch. So, the website that I normally use for Ghastly, those little toy collectibles I have in my background and my other videos, they do, drop times. Like, they're no different to Funko. So, you're basically waiting in line for something, a product to do all these different things. So, if you do build a customer base or you've got a product that's really in high demand, you can almost dictate to the customer the window that they're going to purchase it from. So, you can do that with Shopify.
Create a bit of hype behind it.
Well, that's exactly right. And you can do that with, like I said, that's a crossover between Shopify and social media, all those different things. I do want to do an episode of that, but I'll probably do an episode about that myself, because we were talking last week that I'm actually in the process of doing a print-on-demand experiment. I know K-Farn, my beloved K-Farn cat, is looking forward for the announcement. So what I'm going to do is use partial eBay profits to redirect into a Shopify account. By all means, I don't think it's going to be profitable, right? So it's going to be
it'll be interesting.
It's going to be purely almost as a live experiment. So it's almost going to be like, it's going to be in conjunction with YouTube. So the crux of the matter is that I'm looking to get the source of income from probably YouTube, right? So it'll be more or less a how-to video for people who are considering that print on demand, and I'll market it as such. So, but it's going to be no bullshit, no, sugarcoating it, no, making it flowery and say, hey, I made $50,000 last week, print and demand, all these different things. So it's going to be like a realistic thing, but hopefully, like I said, brings the YouTube traffic and obviously, subsidize from that perspective. So it's going to be like kind of a little bit of a love letter to the octopus. So it's all going to be octopus themed T-shirts and other items. But like I said, it's primarily, string me up from last week, but it's going to be a drop shipping site. So you buy a product, and what will happen is it'll actually it will get printed by an third party, and it'll actually get sent to you directly. So they won't be coming through me like Commonwealth Picker. They'll be basically going through that way.
That is a little bit different though when you're doing print on demand, I think. But look, I think the thing with Shopify though is too, isn't it though? It's the advertising. The reach is not already there. And the thing people complain about the fees and things on eBay. But the thing is, they provide our audience, they provide our customer base. So we don't have to do that. I mean, we do promote, and how much we promote is up to us. But, and you do, look, if you're in the clothing game, you do have to promote, but then you're not going to go and have a Shopify store, are you? Because you're not going to get the reach over there unless you've got some specialised hooly-dooly piece of clothing. But yeah, you'd have to be mindful if you did ever go Shopify way that you've got that right item and that you are prepared to put some of your funds into advertising, I think.
Well, that's exactly right. I wasn't listening to him for the last 5 minutes because my AirPods dropped out because I was just nodding and hoping that I could catch the conversation. But and that one sentence hopefully tied up everything I did. So I will go back and hopefully get it right. But yeah, you're right, Granny, is that, I will need to, use social media and I will need to use those different things. And that will be brought up in the video series that I'm doing regarding this, is that, excuse me, if you are following along from home, I'm going to encourage people to basically, not create one just willy-nilly, but if they were looking at creating like a little experiment from themselves, they can play along at home, because I'm going to try and do it as much as real time as I can. So in the sense that, it might be like I might pre-record it a couple of days, but that video won't be coming at 6 months time, like Commonwealth Pickers release schedule. So it'd be a couple of days after. So it would be realistically in as close as to real time as I can. And by all means, that I'll probably create a either a separate Instagram account, or even tell you to mine, is that where I can advertise the shirt designs, or I can advertise the products from that way. And then, answer any questions. So if you've got a question, by all means, you can, reach out to maybe a Facebook group or a separate Instagram account where we talk primarily just about that print on demand kind of that system. Because all these different things, because what I find is that, and like I said last week, no different to drop shipping, was that a lot of people get sucked in with the the videos on YouTube and say, hey, I made $50,000 last month on print on demand and all these different things. But there's no real legitimacy behind these. And that's, like I said, that I kind of want to bring those forward. And from my understanding, that there's not really much of a cost layout. Like, I do have a website already created. So I will be rolling that out in the videos. So I'm going to repurpose that. It's a matter of using AI to print the shirts. So basically, AI to do the images for the shirts.
Designs,
so Grumpy Granny's been helping me with that. So we've been talking offline regarding that. So from that perspective, it's only really the hosting fees and maybe some minimal other fees. So it's not going to be like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars out of pocket. It'd be probably like maybe $50 to get it set up. So
and that's one of the good things with it. It doesn't take much to set that sort of thing up. And it's just you're then laying out a little bit of money each time as you go, but it's not heaps. But then hopefully the income it brings in, theoretically, should be more than what you're laying out.
Well, no, that's exactly right. Like I said, I'll have to use Google, Google ad placements and all these different things, and and possibly running my own paid advertisements through my videos and all these different things. So hey, look, if you're looking at this, because as where we are on the YouTube. Skirt the food chain, I suppose, we can actually advertise. We can advertise our own products through our channel. So you might be watching other YouTube channels. You might see, shirt designs popping underneath the video. So hey, look, shop the Octopus's store or something like this. So, like a lot of your print on demand stores, that if you you see Facebook ads and all these different things for print on demand stuff, it's all dropship, right? So they basically print it there. They use a printing service, and they ship it from there. So that's pretty much the basis of what I'm looking at. Like I said, that it's more of an experiment, just to look at different incomes. Is it passive? No, it's not passive, but it's probably the closest to passive you're going to get. Is it going to make you billions and billions?
How much work? Right. None of us really know how much work is actually involved in it, because these people do get up on YouTube and say, oh, this is easy, you just set it up and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden I've got $50,000. Well,
that's right.
We don't know if that's true or not.
Well, that's right. Well, I can tell you now it's going to be false. Because, if I'm not here next week, it's a good chance it's probably true that I'm off to the Bahamas with my T-shirt ready. But, I move out of the Bermuda Triangle and move to the Bahamas. But the fact of the matter is that, like I said, I'm a strong believer in not bullshitting people, for personal gain. That by all means, I'm completely transparent in the sense of saying, hey, look, I will be monetizing it on YouTube. So, if 5 million people tune in and I get the ad revenue for that, so be it. Like I said, that's the risk I take. Like I could do this experiment, only Graham and Kfar watch me, like kind of thing. So, they're potentially, and they might take pity on me and buy a shirt. So I might make $2 profit after the experiment. But that's something you need to look at. Like I said, that am I expecting it to hit the ground running? It might take 6 months to before it even sells a product. This is something you need to look at, and something we can run through as well. Is that, but like I was saying, we'll move on to different things. We'll test this for a certain period of time, and if it works good, we'll tick it off. If it doesn't work, we'll put the cross in. We'll move on to something else. And we'll test these different things. But that's something that I want to do on the side this year. So
So the thing I'm looking into for us is Amazon. Still waiting for a response back. So I have actually applied to be a seller. I then had to put in some ID information and stuff and was waiting for my approval, which should have taken 48 hours, they said. And it's now a week and I still haven't had a reply yet.
48, excuse me, 48 days
long,
later.
So a very long 48 hours. Now, the thing with it is, so I looked at it as in, is there something that I'm already selling that would be sellable over there? And I have noticed there are a lot of vintage books over there. And a lot of them are ones that I have. So that was a non-issue. It's not like I'd have to go out and buy heaps of new stuff to actually sell on there. The issue with it is that you have to become, I guess, ungated to be able to sell the secondhand stuff. So you actually have to prove yourself as a seller first and sell a certain amount of new items on there before they will let you sell the secondhand items on there.
Yeah. So do you want to explain what ungated means to those that don't understand?
So ungated means, so when you go on there, you're only allowed to sell certain types of things and certain it's got to be new. It's basically got to be new. But then they'll open up a little gate for you to be able to sell some secondhand things, only books sort of at this stage. If you're a good girl or boy, if you're a good seller and they see that you've done a good job, then you can actually apply to have that little gate opened.
Yeah. So my understanding is that, excuse me, so hypothetically, if I want to sell, I'll use Lego because I used to sell Lego on eBay. But I'll use Lego. So a lot of people in the States, that they've got gating systems. So what they do is that when you apply to be an Amazon seller, you might be only able to sell skincare cream or something like that. And Lister, if you're out there, please tell me what I'm right or wrong. But you might only have access to sell cosmetics or something like this as a base Amazon seller. But if you've got distributor rights, so if you've got a wholesaler that sells you Lego wholesale, you can provide a receipt to Amazon and they'll actually let you sell in the Lego category. But you can't go out and buy, clear the shelves of Walmart or Kmart or BW, wherever you're going to buy all this Lego, then put it on Amazon, because Amazon won't let you because you don't have the appropriate permissions to sell in that category. So there's also like games, like video games and all these different things. But apparently, from my understanding, because I did a little bit of research into this last year myself, is that Amazon's really locked it up. So when it first rolled out and let people fulfilled by Amazon, which means that like no different to what if you buy off Amazon, where a little Amazon parcel comes, or fulfilled by merchant, which is no different to eBay, right? So Leanne will send it off and eBay just collects the fees off the top of that. So basically, when they first brought that system in, it was a free range, everyone could sell whatever it was. But as the time went on, they started gating categories. So like if you had been selling from the start, you could pretty much continue selling free range as far as I'm aware. However, if you at certain stages you came in, your sellability became very limited as to what you could actually sell. So these are that's the difference between gated and ungated. And there are because I really don't know. I haven't looked at Amazon Australia from I suppose from my perspective to sell on there. But that you might need to have wholesale contacts to sell a product. From that perspective.
So at this stage, I should be able to get around the getting over the selling hump that I've got. I have got some products here that I've actually wholesaled from someone that I'll be able to sell on there. Plus, I do have some books that are new that I have sourced new, so I should be able to sell those. I've got someone actually helping me with that is already a seller on there. And that's a big help because they're not telling me how to do it, but they're giving me enough information to hang myself. No, they're giving me enough information to what I need to do next. enough rope to hang myself, and that I can go in and know where to go and look for the information, and go through the whole process. So, and when you apply to be a seller, so there's two ways of doing it. You can actually apply to be a business seller, and that would be they want someone that is going to have that continual stock and most likely do the FBA. Is that right? FBA? Is that right? Yep. But you can also apply to be a casual seller, which is what I've done, which there's actually no, there's not big limits that you have to fulfill. And you can also, I can do it as a fulfill from home merchant. I don't actually have to send my stuff into Amazon.
That's right. So you've also got the ability to sell between eBay and Amazon. So in essence, you're kind of soft cross-listing. But the fact of the matter is that, what I hear unanimously across all the Amazon is that Amazon's, 50 times more stringent than eBay in regards to customer experience. So if you can't survive on eBay, without cancelling orders or losing products, you're not going to survive on Amazon. I can tell you that right now. So probably don't get your ducks in a row on eBay before you start looking outside that. But I think that's it for us for another week, Granny.
It is.
Thank you very much for coming on again. But I suppose that I do want to bring attention to that video that I'm bringing out hopefully this week regarding that eBay Australia seller that got banned. Quite rightfully so, if I do say myself. Like Granny has watched the episode, and a couple of other people have watched the episode too. I'm not gonna link it because I don't want the guy to get any unwanted attention. Because as far as I'm concerned, yes, he made mistakes. Yes, he's an idiot, but I don't necessarily want him to cop.
It doesn't. I mean, look, And I think you said it happened several months ago anyway, didn't it?
Yeah, so it happened about 5 months ago, but
so he would have moved on from the whole eBay stick anyway. But
but like I said,
I guess what got me, was the, he was a bit incredulous with the fact that they had actually banned him, but yet when you looked at the errors he'd made, it was a no-brainer.
It's the way, because he's got about 30,000 subscribers. He's primarily like a PC builder kind of website. So a couple of videos have got 1 million views on them, right? So he knows how to handle YouTube. And it almost sounds that the way that my biggest concern with filming this video was that it almost felt like I paid a paid actor to do like a scenario for me, because the way he presents it, the way he talks, and the way that I've cut the thing, it's almost like watching a mandatory training video for that where you like it's almost like an actor. It's pretty much like, because you cannot believe the amount of mistakes this individual made, and I'm going to hold him to account for it, because I don't. I'm glad that, well, not glad that he lost his account, but this guy's been selling for 15 years, right? So just let that sink in. He has been selling for 3 weeks. And eBay ripped his account off him like nothing else. And the mistakes that he made, I see on a daily basis in the Facebook groups. I can tell you that right now. That's why I want to get this video out as soon as I can, because then I can start redirecting people to watch it and say, hey, look, this is what will happen. Like, don't tell me that because you think eBay is lenient. This is a 15-year seller that lost his account because he made these mistakes. And it's all too easy to make. So, but anyway, we'll leave it again for another week, but thank you very much. And it's so great to finally close off the topic.
Yeah, exactly. And we do hope Blake's feeling better, because poor old Blake, he's quite unwell.
Don't feel sorry for him. But anyway,
I felt sorry for you when you were sick, so
Oh, that's right. It's different. It's me. Like, I'm dying of octopus. But anyway, I said, keep an eye out for our respective videos. So Grumpy Granny's got her live show on a Friday. And a couple of videos through the week, the nuggets, and I will have my videos come through the week as well. So, anyways, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
I didn't get the button, Granny. I haven't got the button yet. Oh, it's awkward.
Oh, no, not again.